El sueño americano, the American dream. It is defined differently by all and has evolved over the years. I specifically want to explore what the American dream meant to the Mexicano populations coming to the US in the 1920s and how it shifted towards the 1960s. During the 1920s, there were many factors pushing Mexicanos out of Mexico, which included economic instability and social uproar due to the Mexican Revolution. The factors pulling Mexicanos to the US was the economic boom at the time. Industries like agriculture, mining, and construction were in need of cheap and abundant labor, which led them to recruit Mexicano workers to fill the labor gaps. Immigration policies were not yet restricting, which enabled workers to enter and leave the US in order to accommodate harvesting seasons, where employers took advantage of workers with low wages and unfair hours. Regardless, Mexicano migrants believed that hard work and determination could lead to a better life for them, both in the US and back home in Mexico. Enrique from Chiapas in 1943 explained how he was motivated to come to the US because he needed to support his family. They needed the money he made in the US so that his sons can get an education. It's stories such as Enrique's where we can understand how the first generations of immigrants focused on economic survival and stability, even if they began and stayed at the bottom, as author Marilyn Davis describes. They were still able to work and help their family in the US and their family in Mexico, which allowed the next generation to shift their focus from working to getting an education and seeking professional achievement. There were, however, obstacles that came in the way, such as immigration policies and the newly implemented Border Patrol that began to limit the number of people coming to the US. Border enforcement began to gain authority over who could cross the border. It was an informal system that determined who was and who was not entering the US legally. Regardless of these limitations, there were still hundreds of thousands of Mexicano immigrants coming to the US by the 1960s, where residents began to perceive Mexicanos as the so-called problem, which further contributed to the challenges immigrants face relating to discrimination, racism, and integration into American society. So immigrants often settled in ethnic barrios where they would find support from other immigrants and overall preserve their cultural identity. Although barrios would restrain younger generations from integrating themselves into the all-American society because they were economically and linguistically limited, education became imposed as notions of education bringing opportunity and opportunity bringing social mobility were perpetuated. This was the American dream. What does the American dream mean to you?